decided to make it into a short piece, something that resembles us and our relation together.
So is the first piece based on folklore dance you made together, or it's your style?
It's the first time we've ever worked together. We've known one another since 1996 from Dancehas in Budapest. And then we both went in contemporary dance in different cities, and then now both in Geneva. So we decided that to make a piece together, we needed to focus on what we know together, which is traditional Hungarian dance, and combine it with our own contemporary vocabulary, which comes from both of us in our exploration together.
But one thing, I already had the question from Tamara, that we didn't want to treat Hungarian folk dance as it is, because we both know quite a lot about it, but we didn't want to just put on the stage Hungarian folk dance. We wanted to use it as a material to create something else, such as you could use anything to create. Lots of people use ordinary everyday movements. We decided to work to decompose a bit Hungarian folk dance and use it in a contemporary way.
What's this new stuff? This is the ordinary movement from daily life, but what else? There's breath, there's something more. What's your vocabulary?
We decided that what we could both work with very easily would be rhythm. And then we thought rhythm is not enough. It needs to go beyond rhythm, and we started to look at ritual. So rhythm and ritual are what drove us to construct a space together. Physically, we construct the negative space between us, and then we move, increasing and decreasing the negative space between us. There's never any physical contact. The contact is merely the negative space between the two bodies, which grows and shrinks and moves together in a highly improvised fashion, as in traditional Hungarian dance.
And another very important connection in between us is, as you might have seen towards the end, this desperate look of holding on to each other holding on until the end of the piece. So yeah, this kind of movement and breathing can create this type of exertion when you really have to hold on to your partner to make it through the end. So it's really not about showing how exhausted we become towards the end. It's just a byproduct of what happens by itself, but what we really want is to maintain this connection and push through it together.
Yeah, there are also some sounds which are also known from folklore dance. It helps you also to communicate together.
In a way it helps, but in another way it's also, for me it's a sort of a mechanism, because I did so much Hungarian folk dance and I've been so many times through these movements that this whistling and these whoop sounds, they just come out.
Is it the steady choreography, or there are passages and parts which are improvisations?
The choreography is in 4 sections, really. And within each of the sections, there is some element that is improvised, be it greater or smaller.
Basically what you can see in the beginning with the ribbon, that's very set, because it's difficult to improvise, we found. Then, up until the last section, everything is improvised within its section. And then there's the last folk dancey choreography, which is also set. But in between, we just use a certain vocabulary, and we improvise the space, and we each have our own things to do within.
Yeah, the space also, it's kind of interesting, because it's an arena where people are sitting all over in the circle, and maybe also the contact with the audience is interesting in the piece. We worked on it.
didn't want to perform with the audience over there and us over here. I think as an audience member, many of you wonder, what does it look like from over there? Or what does it look like from over there? But the choreographer is made in the round. So you get to see other people and you get to maintain, you create our space. It's your space that we dance in. And when you have the audience in chairs and the performer down here, that makes it their space and our space. Whereas in this configuration, your space is our space. So it's up to you to give us room. And you're important. You're really important. We can't do it without you.
Yeah, we also set out to make a piece that goes towards the audience, and so basically this piece was conceived to be played wherever. So we played it in a gallery, on the street, in a park, in wherever. So we want to go to people and perform it and really pull them towards us and go in the audience's space, as opposed to having you or them come to the theatre. Sometimes we play also on theatres. Yeah.
And maybe right now it's the time to ask you, how was it for you? If there's somebody who had some special feelings, some experiences, because now there's a time to talk about it. It doesn't have to be about the space, it doesn't have to be a question.
Could I just ask what you said in the beginning? Was it Hungarian or what was it?
Yes,
like?
it's the part of the ritual that József was talking about. We were looking for something that is like a mantra to say, and this is a little
Children's rhyme.
Yeah, children's rhyme, which is about dance and about. Well, we also chose it because the last dance we do in the piece is called Haido, which is a Romanian dance from a special village. And the Haido, or in Hungarian the Haidu, they are the ones who take care of the cattle, I think, the cows. Yeah? And this children's rhyme talks also about one of those guys. So there's also a connection.
But it's a mantra.
It's a mantra.
Yeah. It's more about the way the audience here, unusually, will have understood what we say. Normally people just think we're chanting. So they get the sense of this chanting, the beginning of something, but without really knowing what's going to come. But they know that there's a preparation, and a mantra is a great way to prepare vocally and
Yeah, when it was reproduced by the sound, it's really like the monks in some cathedral.
Folk monks.
Folk monks. Some other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm not the only one here. No, I'm happy to see two bodies in time. Like you make that what makes present, like the time present, like when you are on time. I wanted the aesthetic, like the aesthetic of it was like the folk dance aesthetic of it was pretty much like soldier-like sometimes, like this. And I just thought right away, like how the hip hop guys do it, you know. And it's like the aesthetic of it was very like you brought this old aesthetic back, and it was like I was confronted with my pop culture while living. It's quite interesting. So this kind of aesthetics of like I have soldiers in my mind, you know, it's like and like phrasing and stopping like this. It's like it's unusual as dance to like stop like this, you know, it's like drop your shoulders, you know, it's like all these things. What do you say to that?
In the creation, we were looking and we were talking about the things we like and the things we don't like, and an idea that came back regularly was stillness. How do you keep moving, and how do you find real stillness? a real stop, because you can see dance pieces where they keep moving and moving and moving, and you think they're never going to stop moving, and they just keep moving. You stop paying attention, and the strength of a real stop, and is what we wanted to explore, and allowing those stops to then fall and catch them again, and allow them to fall and catch them again. So just exploring the idea of stillness against the movement was kind of one of the driving factors.
Yeah, for me, also has to do with going away from the folk aesthetic. I really wanted to cut it, because in folk dance you stay so naturally in the movement, and also as you finish it still goes on, and we really want. I really felt about going away, purifying movements, going down to the basis of the technicity of the movement without putting already ornamentation.
For me, it was also interesting what you mentioned right now, that there was kind of feeling of hip-hop and breakdance stuff, also because of the arena and everything, but there was no fight in it. There was just the simultaneous movement or individual movement of each of you, but
yeah, it kind of happens by itself when you see two guys doing something that might look a bit impressive, or so it happens by itself. But where was I going with this? Yeah, is this? Yes, yeah, of course. Because in Hungarian folk dance, we have male dances for men, male dances, and the concept is pretty much like in hip hop, that men practice their steps. They work on them for days, for months, and then when the band plays, they stand there and they do their thing, and they try to be the best. So it's pretty much like hip hop, yeah. Only we drink much more.
What about Hungarian? Did you feel the Hungarian folk dance in it? Yeah. Was it there?
Then it was.
Well, if there are no more questions, I would like to ask you. Oh yeah, there's one. The human.
I saw your work for the first time, so I just wonder. You worked together a long time. What context is this work happening in, and why are you working in Geneva?
Were you here right at the beginning when we started talking?
I missed the beginning, so
okay.
sorry, I'll ask you later.
So, well, just briefly, I was born in Australia.
Yeah.
Gabor was born in the USSR. We both learned Hungarian folk dance as children. We met in Geneva, in Budapest in 1996 in folk dance, but both working in contemporary dance, traveling around. Now both of us live in Geneva for different reasons. And that's why we find ourselves together 15 years later saying, well, we should make something together based on our history. That's why we come together.
And it's a product of 4 weeks' work.
What about your next piece? Are you working on something right now?
What means that?
It will be together, you two, or?
Next piece. When we finished this, we started, as Gabor said, we had 4 weeks to make this, and we knew we had to make a short piece, and the idea was to see what would come as a second half to our own evening. And right now I'm going to start working with 4 men to make a second part. The idea of rhythm, I don't think we will go past what we've done here tonight. So the idea will be based on ritual again, but the ritual of 4 men who don't know one another, who don't have a history, but they have many things in common. And it'll be more based on strength work and lifting in the visual vocabulary, in the movement vocabulary. So ritual and physical lifting strength.
Well, there was a lot of death rituals, you know. A lot of death rituals lifting the bodies up.
Yeah,
down,
there are
singing.
lots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.